Palm Springs is a place to go.
Right back to the lonely island in middle school.
We were in the middle of the night. I was like eating Jelly Bellies with June Squibb.
Andy's the best. He's like a blast to be around. I think that we also have like similar senses of humor.
After the audience reaction died down, I heard one clear voice go, "Wait, what?"
And I was like, that was it. That was the moment we were making the whole movie for.
It was the best.
This is good.
Welcome to Entertainment Weekly's Around the Table with the cast of Palm Springs. I'm Derek Lawrence, and I'm thrilled to be joined by Andy Samberg, Cristin Milioti, J.K. Simmons, Meredith Hagner, Camila Mendes, and Peter Gallagher. Thank you guys so much for being here. What the audience doesn't know is home. We've just been reliving this interview over and over and over. Andy, did you have a personal favorite from the ones we've already just lived over and over?
Yeah, it was the one where Peter Gallagher stripped down and danced. It was crazy. I don't know what got into
Hilarious.
it. But
So that did happen, right?
Yeah.
Thank God, because I've been dreaming about it. Was it okay?
Well, we all have.
It was an okay dance, right?
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
good.
That's cool.
Yeah.
We'll see how this one goes. Maybe that'll be the one we actually end up using. So I don't know. We'll make that decision later.
The second you fall asleep, it all just goes back to the start.
I drove all the way back home to Austin, and I still woke up here.
One time I smoked a bunch of crystal and made it all the way to Equatorial Guinea. It was a huge waste of time.
Well, thanks again, guys, for joining me. Let's start with like kind of how everyone's feeling. Like, I'm sure you guys filmed this movie, probably a year ago. You go to Sundance, it's kind of one of the talk of the festival. And then kind of the world shuts down pretty quickly soon after, and then you're finally getting to release it. So kind of, it's been quite a ride. So how's everyone feeling as the movie's finally going to kind of be out there?
probably I speak for everyone when I say mixed emotions. Obviously, it's nice that we're able to have finished it and put it out, and that the technology exists for us to do stuff like this and promote it in any way, even though doing any kind of promo right now feels kind of weird. But, the movie's pretty short, so hopefully people will watch it as like a quick little respite from the pain and then go back to focusing on what matters.
That's your big plug. The movie's pretty short.
I was just gonna say that. I was like, it's short.
I can't imagine being part of a movie that has a better place in the world we're living in right now. I feel like it's the greatest gift we could give audiences. It almost in a way it captures what you feel like. I have no idea what today is. And all of a sudden the week is gone. And all of a sudden this picture that we were working on a year ago, that, to be honest with you, I wasn't quite sure what the hell it was about after that. But I knew I wanted to be in business with you, and it was something I'd never read before. It was fresh, and there was something that turned me on. And then for it to come out now, I feel like I can't wait for the audience. I can't wait for the audience to, if they ever needed a movie like this, it's right now.
And it's short.
Well, and honestly, for my family, having fun stuff to stream for my wife and my daughter and my son, he doesn't really care all that much, unless it's the Lonely Island. He's not into it. But no, it's great to be able to spend these evenings, sheltering at home and having some fun content to watch. So here we go. Here's another, 84 minutes? 92 minutes, however much time we're going to demand.
It's a nice
25-minute film, and that's perfect.
It's like a Brooklyn Nine-Nine episode.
Yeah, almost identical.
Good day so far? Today, tomorrow, it's all the same.
What is going on? Hey, get out of the water!
Guess you followed me. It's one of those infinite time loop situations you might have heard about.
That I might have heard about.
Yeah.
I think you guys are right. Like, it feels like it has like an eerie resonance right now. And then I've talked to like multiple colleagues that have already seen it, and like they said they're like, this was a movie I really needed to watch right now. Like, it felt like, have you guys kind of felt that as you've been talking to people that have had a chance to see the movie?
I felt like that watching the film too, where I was just like, I can't wait to see it again, with now living in this exact moment. It's JK's character says so many of these like prophetic, these really amazing nuggets of wisdom that I feel like in this moment just ring so true.
Those were all
and
improv,
yeah, it seems
by
to
the
be
way.
resonating with everybody. So
Yeah, I definitely like I did an interview the other day and the interviewer was like, "Oh, I watched this movie 3 times." And I was like, "You did? You what? What? Did you what?" And like it was like such a relief, and also I wanted to go back and like see what I didn't notice before, and it became like this like Easter egg hunt, and I mean that was like enormously flattering. It was like amazing to hear that.
And by the way, it's very short, so that's
Yeah. So that's like an hour of her time.
that's like still less than The Irishman.
Oh yeah, significantly, and feels like way less.
Yeah.
Andy, how would you kind of set up the movie for people that haven't seen it or maybe haven't even seen the trailer yet?
Don't do it, dude. Don't do it. Don't set it up. People, don't watch the trailer. Don't listen to any more of this, in fact, until after you've watched the movie. Then watch this.
I agree with JK. Sorry,
Yeah.
Andy, go.
I think we all kind of do agree with that. You know,
Yeah.
so many people tell us, including at Sundance, like not knowing anything going in made me enjoy it so much more.
Yeah.
That was it for all of us. It was very tricky to pull off doing so much press at Sundance, but we all agreed it would be better that way, and we managed to make it happen. And I do think it paid off. So if there's anyone out there watching this or hearing about anything we're saying that already has decided they want to watch it, I would say know as little as possible going in.
Yeah.
And if you've watched the trailer and everything, then you pretty much already know.
That's my motto.
Know as little as possible going in.
Child of the 60s.
No, I would totally agree. Like, actually, Andy, I spoke to you ahead of Sundance, and so you were kind of stepping around it. You're like, oh, there is maybe a twist, and I went in not knowing what was going on, and like, yeah, it really did further enhance my viewing experience. But like, it is revealed in the trailer. Was there some like kind of like hesitancy to reveal that, or did it just feel like it's kind of hard to keep a secret, like in kind of this social media driven world at this point?
There was no hesitancy on Hulu's part. I'll say this, like I said, is there a version of the trailer we can cut where we don't say what the movie's about? And that was answered with a resounding no. After that, it was trying to get as many songs we liked in the trailer and as few of the bigger laughs not blown in the trailer. And you just do the best you can. It's hard. It's really hard to get people's attention. There's an ocean of both good and bad, and sometimes when people pay a lot of money for your movie, you do what they say.
But this is good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stop! There's a bomb in the cake. Don't worry. I used to be a bomb guy. Stand back!
Kind of what I guess I'll start with Camila. Like, what for you when you get this script and like you go through it and see the character and see what the film's going to be like? What was it that kind of jumped out to you and made you want to be a part of it?
I think just the sheer uniqueness of it all. I've never read anything like it. You get so many scripts in your inbox that are usually just not that good. And this was like so funny, so fresh. I feel like from the beginning, it like built a world that was so specific and I could see it in my head. And I thought, I have to, if I can be a part of this, I have to be a part of it.
How about for you, Cristin? Kind of the same kind of thing?
Yeah. I mean, the same thing. It was like such a fresh take. I also felt like it was so universally, like I always refer to it as like an existential comedy. I understand there's like a love story at the center and it is like a romantic comedy, but I feel like sometimes when you say that, or if you're told that, even when you read it, like you go in with a certain set of expectations or something. And I don't know, I just was blown away by it. It's so weird and funny and so moving, which is also like I didn't expect that as I was like the first couple pages. I was hooked, but then I got really, really hooked.
For the rest of you, was there anything else that kind of specifically jumped out?
You never know with you read a script and you're like, fingers crossed that this is as good as this script. And I think it was even better. Like it was such a tremendous script. And then to watch it get pulled off was just, I mean, I had one of those classic actor experiences where you read it and then you're like, I really, 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 really want to do it. And then you like think you blow your audition. You're like, damn it. I liked that. And I just did not. So I was very pleasantly surprised, but it was just it was such a good script.
I agree with what Cristin and Meredith and Camila said, and to be, part of a really fresh and surprising. I mean, Max Barbacat, our director and writer, did, I thought, an amazing job in creating this world and then capturing it and making it look beautiful.
A lot of you guys are actually, most of you are like on TV shows that are currently on as they are right now. But so what does it come to when a script comes your way for a film? Like obviously you have something that's on your schedule, you know, that takes up a good amount of time. So do you almost feel like you have to like really maximize that time? Like Andy, you're spending, you know, however many months like doing Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and then you're like, okay, I have this short window. You know, do you feel like you like really have to take advantage of it with like something that you really can grab onto?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, yes.
So that's an affirmative response from Andy. Although none of us are all that busy right now. So
Yeah. I honestly was not that busy at the time.
Oh, interesting.
I was not making time for this. I was scooting around New York being like, wow, wonder what's going to happen to me. And then like, there was no like shifting of schedules. I was like really thrilled.
Well, when we asked Cristin whether or not she'd be in it, we didn't get a response for a while because she was out of continent.
I was in Africa. Like deep in the jungles of Africa, and like was only checking my phone every couple of days. So yeah, it was like tough to get in touch, like in a, you know, speedy way.
That's just good negotiating, I think, to really like make them want you even more. Just
yeah, exactly. That's why I planned the whole trip.
Yeah,
it worked out.
Yeah.
Hung out to dry, like for prom or something. I have a few offers.
Yeah.
Andy and Cristin, like Niles and Sarah's kind of relationship is like a lot at the heart of this film. And like, I don't know, I feel like if that wouldn't have worked, then it would have been tough for kind of the higher stakes stuff to connect. So what was it like for you two kind of building this relationship and finding that dynamic?
I mean, I didn't really feel like, and I don't know if this is like an exciting answer, I didn't feel like we needed to like build anything. There was just like a very natural, I mean, Andy's the best. He's like a blast to be around. I think that we also have like similar senses of humor and like, I don't know, like Andy.
Just get lucky.
Yeah.
This was
like,
one of those cases. I've talked a lot about on this movie with the whole cast, how we got lucky because it was a really hard jammed shoot and everyone was like-minded and everyone was excited about making it, and that does not always happen, and it can really take the wheels off quickly if it's not the case. We cast based on who we thought was going to be great in the characters, and then it was just this huge added bonus that everyone was super nice and enthusiastic.
Crossing fingers that it wasn't a bunch of jerks.
At least you have each other. Nothing worse than going through this alone.
You mentioned like not knowing, you like get lucky and you not know if people are going to work or whatnot. But like, for example, like you and JK have worked together like a few times. Like I like to imagine this is a spiritual I Love You Man sequel. And just that relationship between father and son just really went south. And then, you know, JK even was on Brooklyn this spring. So like, what have you guys enjoyed about working together and obviously want to keep doing it?
I think what Andy enjoys about working with me, I was predisposed to want to jump on board this, even before I read it, which is unusual because for me, it's usually all about the script. And the script was great, and I was, thrilled with it. But I've been sort of hoping for a chance to work with Andy again after, as you mentioned, the wonderful I Love You Man, which they do keep talking about an actual sequel. I don't know if they have Oz is going to be in the old folks' home if we ever get around to it. But yeah, I signed up. Or was interested in signing up for this just based on Andy being in it. And then when I read the script and especially saw what happens in the back half, I was really sold on it.
You want to dance? You know the officiant? He's got a bag of sweets in his pocket.
You're right. Got him.
Andy, you mentioned like how much of a kind of rough shoot this was. I think a direct quote you gave me last time we talked was, "I can't speak lowly enough of the indie filmmaking process." I will say that you added a laugh to that. So just for context, I'm sure, but like, obviously it was like a pretty draining, shoot, I would imagine, a lot of long nights. Kind of, how would everyone else kind of talk about the experience similarly to the way Andy described it, or?
I mean, I felt very lucky because like we come in for like a week and a half. We have a completely different experience than what Andy obviously and Chris. At least I had a very different experience. We were in the middle of the night. I was like eating jelly bellies with June Squibb. Like we were all just having a total blast. And they're like, this movie's hard, and I'm like, this movie's just really fun because you know, I existed in a very specific part of the film. So that was my experience. It was awesome.
It was a blast. I would say that like a challenging part of it that is maybe actually like a big lesson for me is that like sometimes we would only get 2 takes of something, which is my nightmare. I would have like 80 takes of a scene if I could, and there was just we were like just running for it and hustling, and which is also, I think it was like an amazing lesson to just be like, why do you need that many takes? Like just throw it all out on the dance floor, just throw up on the dance floor, you know, as the saying goes, and dance like no one's laughing. And I don't know, like, so that was also like, I would say like a challenge. I mean, there's definitely some stuff that I wish I could go back and like do better, but that's also like the part, like like that's also part of like indie filmmaking, which is also amazing.
One of the great things about indie films like this is that everybody's there for the same reason, because they like the material, they like the group of people, and they're nobody's there for a big giant paycheck, and there tends to be a little less of that top down kind of I don't want to say meddling, but input, so that it feels more like the director and the producers and the cast are getting to make the movie, which is a beautiful thing, and certainly was in this case.
Every single person on this film was so jazzed about this film, and we worked like nuts hours. We were like out in the middle of the desert like till dawn. It was a lot of night shoots, and everyone wanted to be there.
Well, until like 4 a.m. I wanted to be there.
Sure.
4:30ish, I was ready to go.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
You mentioned that 4:30
repeatedly.
What's interesting too with this one is it's almost like 3 of you are existing in a different movie from the other 3. So I imagine that's like kind of interesting when you're filming it. Camila, like you and Peter and Meredith are like don't really know what's going on, like when some of the other characters are like really going off the deep end or really going for it. So what's that kind of like as you're what's going on, but your character's kind of in this totally different mindset as this wild stuff's going on?
I think it's super fun to play into the oblivion of it all, because I think that's like where the comedy comes, is like there's like certain characters that know that like this whole thing is happening, and then the ones that are oblivious, like I think that's where all the comedy kind of bounces off of.
Andy and Cristin, like on the other hand, you guys, when you seen a bit in the trailer, if some people have done it, like there's kind of a montage, you guys kind of get to a montage of kind of like wild, absurd things. What was it like, especially on like when you'd only get like 2 shots at something, like Cristin said? What's it like kind of just really going for it with these kind of big things and taking your quick shots?
I mean, it was a ball. Like it was an absolute ball. It was a joy. It was as fun as that montage looks.
That stuff especially was very fun to shoot, because it's supposed to feel a little bit chaotic and like on the razor's edge.
Yeah.
Embodying that mentality and kind of running and gunning and shooting it at the same time was definitely fun.
Yeah.
Let's waste some time.
Oh, you pretty things. You know you're driving This is crazy!
Something that, we talked about kind of, I'm sure it was really hot, these long days, kind of miserable filming, but like, I'm sure a very different experience was when you guys got to go to Sundance. And obviously that's like a magical experience regardless. But then when you have a film that like everyone's really gravitating to and talking about, I'm sure that kind of takes it to another level. For like you guys that got to go, what was that experience like once people got to see the film and were just talking about it all over the place?
I mean, it was amazing. I think back to that screening we were all at together, like in that giant room full of people, and especially like now, how extra meaningful that is that like we can't be in a giant room of people. But that screening, it was so amazing to be back together again. I was on the literal edge of my seat the entire time, just watching the audience go through every single emotion. And I remember feeling so incredibly proud, because I was like, oh, this is how I felt. This is how I feel. And like when I read it, and look, like they're laughing at this part and screaming at this part and crying at this part. And that was like, incredible. I mean, it was absolutely amazing.
There's also such a specific like rooting for indie film in that way. It's the greatest thing. Like that's a movie that you want to succeed. And then looking at Max at the party, talking to his parents and Andy and everybody, and just like it just feels so good to be a part of something of an independent film that gets that kind of, the people that work so hard on it actually get, it was very special. And also now, to echo what Cristin says, if we had only known special was to be in a movie theater together.
I mean, or to be at like a giant party together and we were all like toasting with tequila and like running around being like, we did it! And like, a month later.
What was like being in that room when no one knows what direction this movie's gonna take, and then everyone suddenly like clicking in and realizing what's going on. Like that is like really only one time that's ever going to happen now in a theater for this specific movie. So what was it like kind of soaking in that reaction?
It was the best.
Yeah, very.
Like, it was just the best.
I feel like at one key moment, like after the audience reaction died down, I heard one clear voice go, "Wait, what?"
And I was like, that was it. That was the moment we were making the whole movie for. It's like,
that was me in the back row. I never read the whole script. I just go blah 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 blah. My part.
Yeah.
But like almost everything I've ever wanted to be a part of elicits that. Wait, what?
I don't think that we met. I'm Sarah.
Niles.
Hi. Nice.
Run, rabbit, run!
Niles?
Don't come in here!
It's gonna be a beautiful wedding.
Speaking of Sundance, Andy, I need you to like take me in the room as the movie debuts. Everyone's talking about it. I'm sure a lot of people are now wanting to buy the movie, and you're negotiating. People are coming at you, and you're like, okay, these are my demands. I want to be the highest acquisition of all time at Sundance, but by 69 cents. So take me into that room and how that conversation goes.
Which will never not be funny, by the way.
My family is so proud.
Hulu insisted on the 69 cents. It was either Hulu or Akiva. I can't remember. You guys know me. I'm always wheeling and dealing and negotiating.
Yeah.
I wasn't drinking and hiding behind a whole team of agents and lawyers and being like, whoa, this is going really good. I'm a producer.
Oh, God.
I was like, sell, buy, sell.
Wall Street over there, yeah.
We got way more interest than we were expecting, obviously, and I kept going like, how much? Sounds good. And then when it got up high enough, we were like, maybe we should throw 69 cents on there so people don't hate our guts. That's pretty much it. That's inside the room.
What was everyone else's reaction when maybe you're still at Sundance, maybe you're back home already, and you hear not only is it the biggest acquisition at Sundance history, but by 69 cents. I'm sure you're like, okay, that sounds about right.
Oh, I mean, I laughed my face off. That's the funniest thing to see that like reported on. To be like by 69 cents, like to know that a 69 joke is like in national like trades or whatever. That's so funny.
Right back to the Lonely Island in middle school kind of vibe, yeah.
Well, the young Lonely Island is very proud. I'm sure if they could find out what happened.
There's an infinity circularity to 69. It's all
full circle.
Yeah, it's very zen. Yeah.
Yin yang.
Yeah.
To wrap up, a few kind of rapid fire questions kind of relating to the movie and the plot. I'll start with Meredith. What type of wedding guest are you? I mean, you're a wedding guest in the film.
I'm an emotional wedding guest. It's fun playing someone like Misty because like I actually get very uncomfortable giving wedding. Like I'm not. So it's very fun to get to be the person that like wants to make other people's weddings about them, which is a very specific type of guest that I love to witness at a train wreck wedding. But yeah, I'm just like, even if I'm a rando plus one of somebody, I will be crying more than like the family, and it's weird. It's actually like very odd. So that's the kind of guest I am, very emotional.
How about you, Camila? What kind of wedding guest are you?
I'm just like I'm there for the party. like I like going on the dance floor and just like making sure everyone's having a good time. I haven't been in too many weddings, to be honest. I've been to like maybe 4. So guys, get married. Invite me.
Andy, for you, so I recently found myself kind of missing baseball, and I ended up rewatching the Bash Brothers Experience, and I couldn't help but wonder why we weren't getting a Palm Springs theme song. I mean, I personally miss like the Will Smith movie theme song days, so I don't know, what would have Palm Springs Lonely Island theme song, what would that have sounded like, do we think?
Man, I mean, if I knew the answer to that, we'd be bumping it right now.
You still got
about why we didn't have Cristin singing the entire movie and me rapping. I should say, fake rapping. It's just not that kind of movie, you know. We were living in the like 70s, early 80s kind of vibes on the music with this one. But it would have been super funny if
there was like a Wild Wild West song in the credits after that. Palm Springs is a place to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure what the premise would be.
Andy, how many times has Groundhog Day been brought up to you in like the production of, or being interviewed about this movie? Is that something you've like gotten tired of being asked about, or is that actually not coming up as much as I assume?
It's come up a lot, and I'm not tired of it. We knew going in that there's parallels, and that's kind of like the OG. And you know, since we even decided as a company that we wanted to take the script on, a lot more time loopy stuff has come out that we didn't even know about, like Russian Doll and Happy Death Day and all these awesome things. And it's kind of just become its own genre, strangely. And I also will say, like, I'm yet to watch one that I don't enjoy. So hopefully we're just adding to that.
And this one is the shortest of all of them.
Can't state this enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
So brief. Don't blink.
Yeah.
You can watch something after it before you go to bed.
Well, that's all the time we have. Thanks again so much for joining us on today's Entertainment Weekly Around the Table. Palm Springs is on Hulu now, so go stream it and hopefully watch it over and over and over like other people already are. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.